What if I told you that many of the facts you learned about our solar system are actually wrong? From the color of the sun to the far side of the moon. Today, we're busting 7 of the biggest myths you've been told about space. If you've ever drawn the sun, chances are you grabbed the yellow crayon. Maybe orange if you were feeling artistic. But in reality, the sun isn't yellow at all. From space, with no atmosphere to scatter its light, the sun shines pure white. So why do we see it as yellow or red? That's Earth's atmosphere at work. Air molecules scatter blue light more strongly, leaving the sunlight that reaches our eyes with a yellowish or reddish tint, especially during sunrise and sunset. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station confirm it. In the vacuum of space, the sun looks like a brilliant white ball. So next time you think of the sun, imagine something closer to a white spotlight than a cozy campfire glow. It's tempting to describe the sun as a massive fireball in the sky. But that's not how it works. Fire, as we know it, comes from chemical reactions involving oxygen. And the sun doesn't burn oxygen at all. Instead, it's powered by nuclear fusion, an entirely different beast. At its core, the sun crushes hydrogen atoms together under extreme pressure and heat, forming helium and unleashing energy so powerful it could boil away 1,000,000 Earths. To put it into perspective, every single second, the sun releases more energy than humanity has used in all of history. So calling it a ball of fire really undersells it. It's more accurate to think of it as a self-sustaining nuclear powerhouse. One we're lucky is 93 million miles away. This one is probably the most famous space myth. Astronauts can see the Great Wall of China from orbit. It sounds amazing, but it's simply not true. The wall is long, yes, stretching thousands of kilometers, but it's also very narrow and built with stone and earth that blend right into the natural landscape. To the human eye from space, it's nearly invisible. What astronauts can see are much brighter or more contrasting features: city lights glowing at night, vast airports, long highways, and even agricultural patterns in farmland. So while the Great Wall may be one of humanity's greatest achievements, it's not the shining beacon visible from orbit that many people imagine. Here's a common misconception. Summer happens because Earth is closer to the sun, and winter happens because we're farther away. Makes sense, right? Except that's not how it works. Seasons are caused by Earth's tilt, a 23.5-degree lean that changes how much direct sunlight each hemisphere receives. When the northern hemisphere tilts toward the sun, it gets longer, hotter days, making it summer there. Meanwhile, the southern hemisphere tilts away, giving it shorter, colder days. That's winter. In fact, Earth is actually closest to the sun in January, when the northern hemisphere is in the middle of winter. So the next time someone says it's summer because we're closer to the sun, you can impress them with the truth. It's all about the tilt. If you've ever spotted an incredibly bright light in the evening or morning sky, you might have thought, wow, that star is bright. But often, what you're seeing isn't a star at all. It's Venus. Venus reflects sunlight so efficiently that it outshines nearly every other object in the night sky except for the moon. That's why it's sometimes called the evening star or morning star. But make no mistake, Venus is a planet, not a star. It's wrapped in a thick, toxic atmosphere that reflects light back toward us, giving it that dazzling appearance. The irony? For centuries, people worship Venus as a star without realizing they were looking at a planet nearly the same size as Earth, one that could crush a spacecraft in minutes under its crushing pressure. Few things are as magical as seeing a shooting star streak across the night sky. But here's the truth. Shooting stars aren't stars at all. They're meteors, tiny bits of rock and dust from space that burn up as they hit Earth's atmosphere at tremendous speeds. Real stars, on the other hand, are gigantic balls of plasma, light years away. So when you make a wish on a shooting star, you're really wishing on a tiny space rock being vaporized before your eyes. Still, they're incredible to witness. And sometimes, those tiny meteors leave behind glowing trails that last for minutes, a phenomenon called a persistent train. So while they're not stars, they are one of space's most beautiful illusions. Let's end with one of the biggest myths of all time: the dark side of the moon. Many people imagine that one half of the moon is trapped in permanent darkness. But that's not true. The far side of the moon gets just as much sunlight as the side we see from Earth. So why don't we ever see it? Because the moon is tidally locked. It rotates on its axis at the exact same rate it orbits Earth, meaning the same side always faces us. The other side is hidden, but not dark. In fact, when astronauts on Apollo 8 orbited the moon for the first time in 1968, they became the first humans in history to lay eyes on that far side. They described it as rugged, cratered, and strangely beautiful. So while The Dark Side of the Moon makes for a great album name, it's not scientifically accurate. So there you have it. 7 of the biggest myths about our solar system. Busted. How many of these did you believe before today? I'll be reading the comments.